I think the future for sales and customer success is really around making sure we're doing our part on the post-sale side.
Hello and welcome to the forecast. Today we're going to take a trip down the customer journey to identify one of the major gaps or possible chasms standing in the way of your revenue growth. Mapping the customer journey is nothing new, but every day it becomes increasingly more complex. You've probably seen numerous variations of a linear chart with 5 steps: awareness, consideration, purchase, retention, and advocacy. But if you work in B2B SaaS, you know a couple of things. 1, the customer journey goes more in a continuous loop. And 2, there can be quite a lot of handoffs between each of those steps that need to be navigated. Maybe the most important step is the moment after the sale when the customer is ready to be onboarded. Getting the art of the handoff right is absolutely imperative to revenue growth. And we have a seasoned B2B veteran here today to walk us through some of the best practices. That is, former Oracle executive and Korn Ferry's current Vice President of Sales North America, Michael Hogan. Mike, welcome to the forecast.
Thank you very much, Molly. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, let's talk about the space in between the stages of the customer lifecycle. What are the typical challenges that you see from the handoff from sales to customer success?
It's probably fair to say once that sale is made and you're starting to go into the implementation or service delivery, it's really that activation phase, I call it, which is how do you now transfer from, all right, we were in selling mode to now we're in delivery mode. And that really has to be a smooth transition from the pre-sales team and resources to the folks on the ongoing implementation and customer success team. And how do we make sure that that is coordinated? It is a smooth handoff. There's a lot of knowledge sharing so that when that team gets introduced to the client to begin the second phase of the customer experience on the implementation, that the client doesn't feel like they're repeating the same discovery process that happened pre-sales, because we've done a great job in our internal activation phase by making sure there was a clean knowledge transfer, including understanding the client's culture, the buyers, and what the personal wins are for each of the persons involved in the decision that the client made, to make sure that that client feels like there's really no drop-off from the pre-sales to the post-sales, and more importantly, it allows us to lay a good foundation to kind of activate the next phase of the process, which is how do we make sure the client is successful in the implementation phase of the process, because that's where the client is probably the most nervous. I drank the Kool-Aid, but now am I going to see that same experience on the post-sale? And so the minute the client feels like that's not going to be the case, of course, buyer's remorse or confidence level decreases. And so making sure that activation period is very crisp, consistent, and executed so that obviously the client feels like it's just the next chapter of the employee or the client lifecycle. And obviously it lays a great foundation for then what becomes the ongoing customer success management of the relationship once the client is officially live on the solution that they bought.
Michael, sales and customer success need to learn the art of the handoff. How do you, as a revenue leader, make sure that your team is flawlessly executing on this?
Yeah, I mean, I learned early in my career, when people refer to you as lucky, it's when opportunity meets preparation. And so for me, it's around the preparation side. If people understand what's expected of them, if there is a defined process and that process shows results and people understand their part and how they need to execute that process, then of course it's easy for folks to then manage themselves through that process versus having the management or the revenue leader have to inspect it. Of course, you always have to have some level of inspection and reporting. And so, for example, one of the things that we do is to kind of have all those steps taken place on every one of those sales and hand it off to the post-sale team. Have we actually executed that within the time frame that makes sense so that the client feels like there's really not a drop-off in we haven't heard from the vendor in a couple weeks. And so it has to be obviously an efficient process. And then making sure we go back after we ensure that that process happens. And then we also want to survey the client.
What is your forecast for the future of sales and customer success collaboration?
I think the future for sales and customer success is really around making sure we're doing our part on the post-sale side. Because let's face it, in the world of SaaS or cloud, and the faster innovation that's happening every month, every quarter, right? I mean, the products all look to some degree the same. The user experiences are similar, the innovation's kind of similar. So it really becomes the differentiator is how do you get your clients to really adopt and use your products and to continually understand what's available to them as new technologies or new capabilities come to market. And so that really puts the onus on the sales and customer success relationship to make sure the initial purchase experience goes well, but more importantly, how do we nurture that relationship, provide more knowledge about how they can adopt the product better, what's coming on the horizon from an innovation that they could certainly benefit from, how other customers are utilizing the product to take full value, and really just kind of working with the client to activate them beyond the implementation to really utilize the products to the fullest, have a great experience, become raving fans. And of course, what that means to the client lifecycle is they then renew for another couple of years. And more importantly, what else can I buy from you, Mr. Hogan, if my experience has been successful to date? So that's really why I think the future is how does a sales and customer success really view the post-sale as really a key differentiator against your competition, and more importantly, how do you grow your customer base and renew it at the same time?
Smoothing out those cracks in the customer lifecycle creates a significant impact on your revenue and is key to a successful revenue operation, making a much more enjoyable journey on both sides. Many thanks to our wonderful expert, Michael Hogan, and thank you all for watching. And until next time, stay healthy, stay focused, and stay connected.